In this video, we want to talk about one of the most fearless animals in the animal kingdom. And the funny thing is, this animal is not powerful or scary whatsoever, the honey badger. Before we get to know the honey badger, let's see where it came from. The honey badger comes from a type of family called the mustelids. And the thing about these mustelids is that they're mammals, they're carnivores, but they're not powerful in any shape or form. So to get their food, they have to get very creative. They are not like other predators where they can use their powerful strength, their jaw, their teeth to hunt their prey. They have to act strategic or be creative. It's good to know that most carnivorous mammals in the world are the Carnivore, and this family includes bears as well. These guys are pretty successful at what they do to find food, and the bears are the most powerful ones. Mustelids are much smaller and they don't have power, but their skin is very thick. They have claws that help them out. But most importantly, they have a lot of confidence. Mustelids also have very short legs and they have bigger bodies, which is why they can't run very fast. So when they're in a hectic situation, running is not an option. They have to stand up, put their chest high and start fighting, or at least act like they're tough. You might be familiar with this animal, the skunk, which is also known as a mustelid. One of the defense weapons is that famous spray we all smell, which is not only smells bad, but it's pretty toxic because if you're exposed to it for a long time, you begin to feel sick. We got to know mustelids pretty well, but the most famous one is the honey badger. This one has the most amount of confidence. It has so much confidence that people call it crazy. Not only does it fight with hyenas and African wild dogs, but it also fights with lions. When an animal has this much confidence, doesn't matter how big they are, the other animals are going to get scared because they might think that this guy knows something that I don't. The honey badger, just like the skunk, also has a stench that it gives off, but it doesn't have proper aim like the skunk. It just sprays its vicinity, and anywhere it goes, there's basically a radius around it that this terrible smell hovers around. This smell alone is one of the reasons that other predators do not want to be around it. This smell seems toxic, and the predator pretty much feels like they're about to die from toxicity, so they don't get close to the animal. But why is this animal called the honey badger? Because it loves honey. And the interesting part is when the honey badger attacks a beehive, one of the reasons the bees get scared and fly away is the smell this animal gives off. It's somewhat of a toxic smell and they think they're being poisoned. And even if any bees get on its skin and start stinging away, nothing is gonna reach the surface, because the skin is so goddamn thick and it has so much fur that it doesn't even reach. But let's say a powerful predator gets its hands on one of these, like a leopard. What happens if it bites into it? The insane part is that the honey badger's skin is so thick that a leopard's jaw cannot crush it. It could literally bite away at its neck and it won't even puncture it. That's how thick the skin is. But alongside all that thick skin, there's a thick fur that helps it out even more and makes the biting process even harder. The bee sting is nothing. The honey badger is so insane that it attacks snakes. And the body of this animal has evolved in a way, even if a snake bites it, the venom does not enter its system. The honey badger does not look like it's powerful, and it's truly not. You could literally kick it away, but it won't allow you to do that. It will act so angry in front of you that you will be terrified of it. You don't even want to approach it. Sometimes it has been seen the honey badger when it's hungry. It has even stolen food from other predators. These guys make predators so terrified that they don't even want to fight in groups. There are different types of mustelids that are close to the honey badger. There's a one that swims in the water called the otter. Just like the honey badger, the otter is very confident. It could even hunt other animals, and between its fingers there are these flaps that allow it to swim very fast. Unlike honey badgers that can barely run quick, this thing can get through the water very quickly. Alongside the otters, there are giant otters that live much differently, because rather than living alone like the other mustelids, these things live in packs. And when they're in packs, their confidence levels goes off the roof, because they will attack anything. They attack leopards, anaconda, crocodiles. They're not afraid of anything. Between mustelids, the otter is probably the smartest ones. And it's one of the only animals, after chimpanzees, that actually uses rocks as tools. They break their food on top of the rock and start eating it, something you barely see in the animal world. What's the main enemy of the mustelids? In the last 10,000 years, it has been humans. Humans have always hunted these mustelids. But why? It's because they have a very thick coat with a lot of fur. And it's hydrophobic, so it means water does not get through it. You could literally put this coat on, go into the water, and water will not leak. So it's very warm to have this type of clothes, especially back in the day in the winter times. Nowadays, even though it's very illegal in most countries to hunt mustelids, people still hunt them for their fur. The map you're seeing in front of you is where the honey badger lives, but the biggest population lives in Africa and India. In the Middle East throughout history, these guys used to be plenty, but different farmers throughout the Middle East killed them because they would destroy their crops. So the population over there is much lower. But now killing these animals is very illegal. If you find honey badger fur for sale anywhere, it's pretty much illegal. And the government has the right to take it, but people do still sell them. Even though the honey badger's name has honey in it, honey is not its main food source. It has to eat meat. Honey is basically like a dessert. After it finds all the meat it needs, it attacks some beehives to get some honey. If you want to pinpoint the most opportunistic animals in the animal kingdom, the honey badger is up there, because anywhere it hunts, it's all an opportunity. Most of the times it digs the ground and finds pests like rats, insects, and other animals living down there, and takes advantage of them. One of the main reasons it could do that is because of the claws it has that dig very easily. In this case, the honey badger is very useful in the animal kingdom because it gets rid of pests and controls its population. Another way it's opportunistic is that the honey badger will even attack birds. Birds that are not paying attention, the honey badger will just attack from behind and kill it. Just like we said, venomous animals can't do anything to the honey badger. The bee is nothing. It will attack snakes and even scorpions. Just like we said, even if the venom does get into its system, it has such a strong immune system, especially in terms of venom, that it does not destroy anything in the body. When you look at this map, you see that honey badgers are found in the deserts of Arabia, one of the most brutal weathers in the world. But these guys still survive down there without a beat. The honey badger, unlike the giant otters, they live alone unless they have babies. When they have babies, you do not want to even get near it because they're much angrier when they have their young. They think anyone is an intruder and they're entering their territory, so they will for sure attack you. They're kind of like a female bear when they have a young. They will attack anything that moves in their territory. This has happened plenty of times in Asia and Africa, where someone had a wooden built house that they don't live in. It's kind of like a villa. And after a few months they come back and the honey badgers have broken the floorboards and entered the home and pretty much turned the house into their own territory. Just imagine trying to kick these guys out when you enter your villa. Just like you can see in the map, you can find these animals in India as well, somewhere that they live very happily, almost too happy, because their population is booming. There's so many of them, and it's becoming a problem. As you know, India is the most populated country in the whole world, and of course a lot of people die and they have to bury them. The problem is, these animals follow these dead bodies and dig them up at night and start eating people's corpse. And there's so many of them that they can't control it. It's kind of like it's too good of a place where their population is not being controlled. And the Indian culture doesn't allow the killing of these animals. But the problem is, the population of these things are becoming a huge problem not only for the country, but for the environment itself.